guys, how's it going? Welcome to this week's recap video. Apparently yesterday was World Naked Gardening Day.
Are you participating?
May the 4th. I guess it's yesterday when you see this video.
Oh, is it really on May the 4th?
So we have a couple days to prepare, Aaron.
Oh, well, what are you going to do?
Sew a top button on.
Button it up a little higher?
Yeah.
That's such a weird thing. Like, how did that start?
I don't know.
That seems bizarre.
I don't think I will open Instagram that day. A lot of people participate though.
Yeah.
But I have no interest, and I also have no interest in seeing the pictures.
Well, May the 4th is can be a little chilly to participate in that.
Yeah, if it's anything like today, weather report for today, it is partly cloudy, very breezy, and chilly.
Yeah.
So, we've had, night before last was 27 degrees. Last night, I don't know if we froze, but it's cold.
Did you see any, damage that...
Roses.
Really?
New growth on roses. Some hosta tips, crab apples that were in bloom are now brown. Lilacs that are white are brown now.
Do you think gardeners care about the weather more than other people?
Some of them don't, apparently.
Do you have someone in mind?
Yes. But I do, and I actually love to know what's going on in other areas.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have mentioned that they still have snow. I'll post a picture of a bouquet that I made out of the garden, and are you kidding me? You're seeing lilacs? We just got snow this morning.
Wow.
Anyway, let's jump into the videos from this last week. The first one was planting potatoes and a bunch of ground covers. So we had prepped the potato bed the day before, which was so nice. So we used a tiller, which we don't often use, but boy, in that situation, when you need to get tubers down that far, and I do not like trenching, I don't like digging trenches. I don't like trench method for anything.
Well, it's a lot of work.
It is. So it was really nice that we had the bed prepped. All the amendments were added in. So we just kind of went over potato planting basics, how I do it anyway, and then got that done. And then we planted some ground covers. And I can't even remember what ground covers I planted that day.
Something awesome.
Oh, I remember. It was a whole gator full. It was the ajugas. There's the yarrow brass buttons. We planted some woolly thyme and rock cress. Anyway, everything's doing really well out there, even with the cold night, which makes me happy. But first question is from Devin Jones. What is the definition of a ground cover? Is there a height limit? Well, I would think that, anything could be considered a ground cover that spreads itself out and covers the ground. That's basically what you're looking for.
Like grass?
Yeah, well, I think some definitions would say anything from tiny to up to 3-4 feet. Something like that. I think I read that somewhere at one point.
Oh, sure.
But it's anything that will kind of root out and spread. It doesn't necessarily have to root out, but that will grow out and cover the soil, which is something that I'm really aiming toward, especially out in the South Garden. I really want the soil to be covered in a lot of the areas because it's so beneficial for so many reasons. Keeping the soil more moist, so it reduces the amount you have to water. It keeps roots cooler of plants around it, suppresses weeds, and it makes everything visually more lush when you've got ground covers. So I've been working on that. And if you can choose ground covers that also add in some spring color or summer color or fall color, or evergreen, like the Creeping Veronica, amazing evergreen ground cover. If you can add in, that kind of interest, that's also fun.
What's that Proven Winners shrub that's real low? It's like a juniper or...
Oh, the Moss Mountain juniper?
Yeah.
It grows 2 feet tall by 5 feet wide.
That's a ground cover, right?
Technically, I guess, yeah. I love that juniper. It looks so pretty. We've just got one, and it's just perfect right where it's at.
Yeah.
I just love it. Andrea said, I'm confused. Do you use the word compost and mulch interchangeably? Yes, we do. Do you put compost, then put actual wood chip mulch on top? No, we use compost as mulch. That's why I say interchangeably, because that's just all we use.
And it's kind of mulch on the way to compost. It's not the compost that you would think necessarily is hot compost.
It isn't fully broken down. There are little chips in it still, very little ones. We do use a traditional mulch, bark chip kind of mulch, in the walkways in the cut flower garden. There's a huge difference between the compost we use as a mulch in our flower beds and that we use in the walking beds.
It's also confusing because mulch will compost over time.
True, unless you use rubber mulch. and then look out.
Were people upset about it?
I think we're answering questions on that video later on, so maybe we'll save it.
Okay.
I don't even have that many opinions on it, but we'll talk about it here in a minute. Plant and People Carer said, have you ever thought of cover cropping for nutrient retention and or removal? I have. Yeah, we've looked into it quite a lot. You know, my parents down at the garden center, they sell a lot of cover crops, a lot of bulk for farmers, for fields and things like that. So I have thought about it. We just haven't gotten around to doing
Don't you
it.
require more moisture for cover crops like that? Like the way people usually do cover crops? Isn't that a thing? Like, isn't that the reason that people typically don't do it around here?
Cover crops help with erosion control, but they also help with like nitrogen fixing and taking things away from the soil or adding things in.
Because we can only do cover crops in the spring or in the fall, but they're going to die out in the summer.
Yeah.
Unless
you'd
you
have
can
to
irrigate it.
Yeah.
In which case, that's your like prime growing time, right?
I think there's a lot of cool season cover crops though, that are short. Like they're a short cover crop and then you can work them in. Writer View said, I also planted black pearl heucheras last year. Question, do you know what why this year's foliage is green and not black? Does it have something to do with the amount of light it's getting? One or two things. Usually the more light they get, the more colored up they are, and the more true to color they are. When you move them into a darker area, they just tend to be more like muted, I guess, either muted in the color they're supposed to be, or they'll be more green. Temperature can have a little bit to do with that. My black pearls, though, they get some morning sun, and they tend to stay pretty true. They're protected for the rest of the day from sun. They get a little tiny bit of filtered sun. And sometimes temperature, in the heat of summer, things can kind of lose their color, but mine have not done that. And I don't think that Proven Winners, it's a Proven Winners variety, I don't think they would select a variety that would fade out in the summer. That'd be something that would be X'd from their list.
Yeah, right.
You're not going to be in our collection because you don't stay true to color. So I would maybe think it's a light issue more than anything.
Sure.
Yeah. Disney Lover said, so many potatoes. I'm growing kale and I went out to harvest some. On one of the plants, there was a powdery substance on it. Upon investigating, I found a bunch of bugs on them. Being first-time veggie grower, what should I use for bug control? Do I spray on the veggies or the ground? It depends on what kind of bugs you've got. There's really good organic sprays out there, but still be careful with those because a lot of them are insecticides still and contact killers, and they'll still kill pollinators if you spray at the wrong time. So I would, whatever you choose to spray, whether it be insecticidal soap, Captain Jack's dead bug, some kind of a neem or a horticultural oil, something like that, spray it at dusk or very, very first thing in the morning when it's cool out and the pollinators aren't out yet. But I would recommend getting on Bonneight's website. Honestly, they've got a really good way to figure out what bugs you have. There's a lot of pictures, and then based on what insect you've got, you can figure they'll list out all of the different things that they have in particular. There's lots of different brands, but I find their guide to be really helpful. You could also take a picture or sample in a Ziploc bag down to your local garden center and have them identify it, and they could probably point you in the direction of something that will work nicely. Karen said, what happened to your helper Benjamin? He said to warn him or remind him when you were planting potatoes. I oftentimes will just tell him what I'm doing and they can come along or not. So he must have had something he was more engaged in at the moment. Rebecca said, how much should you water the potatoes in and how often at first so as not to cause rot? Do you wait to water them again until you see growth? It depends on the weather. We've had so much wind in the last week that I did water them that day when we planted them, and then they've had water a couple more times, and we'll probably hold off. In fact, I was thinking about that this morning. I need to go out and shut off the valves to those rows so that they can just sit there, and maybe I'll just hose water until I start to see some growth emerge. If the soil looks like it's really dried out, give them some supplemental, but they don't need a whole lot. It's kind of like dahlias. I usually water in dahlias once, and then wait to see some green growth and then start watering them after that. Our Molderable said, which ground cover do you think is the best one for fast spreading but equally as important to suppress weeds? Oh, any of the ones that I showed you in here. I love Ajuga a lot. Ajuga is so pretty because not only is it beautiful when it blooms, which it always feels like it's in bloom, but it's also like all the varieties have a very unique variegation and different color patterns, and I think that's beautiful. They're also evergreen most years. They look good through the winter, or a semi-evergreen depending on if you're in a colder zone. So any of the creeping thymes, the creeping veronica, the ajugas, brass buttons I don't have a lot of experience with yet, so I don't know about that one. Sedums are a great ground cover as well. We'll have occasional like blades of grass come up through that one when they're sited closer to the edge of a flower bed, but that's just kind of normal with everything.
Spread very well, do they? Like cover?
They do.
Do they? Some of them?
Ours are babies.
Yeah.
The ones we have currently out in the south garden anyway. Pink Box said, could you do an experiment on a potato tower? It would be great for people with smaller properties. Remember that potato tower I built? It was like that giant 4x4 box.
Oh, yeah, right. Out of pallets.
Out of pellets. And then I grew peas in the top of it and then had holes, or I had potatoes in the top and holes for strawberries out the side.
Yeah, so just go back to 2014 if you want to watch
that
some
thing
of
lived. It lived at the garden center for years. It held up for a long time, and it had to be set on a pallet because it was so heavy, so you could move it around. We had it on wheels on our back patio, and that worked out. Yeah. But it doesn't wheel around in gravel very easily once we took it down there.
Man, I remember filming those videos back then. What a cluster.
Yeah, it was. Oh, man.
It took us multiple days to film videos like that, and now we'd probably be able to slap that together so fast.
Yeah, probably so.
But
or not. I don't know. It's been a while since we've done any kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
You know, it is a good idea to do a potato tower. We may do it at some point. It's just that, you know, you're kind of the way you do things evolves. And oftentimes what we are showing you in videos is what I'm actually doing out in the garden. There's not a lot of projects I do that are just for, you know, for fun or for experimentation. There are some. And we may get back to that at some point. But there's just so much going on out in the garden that there's no lack of things that need to be accomplished. And I just film it when I do it, you know? Yeah. Next video you guys loved. It was a renovation update tour at my parents' house. And we also planted a couple of trees, a green mountain linden and a Jackman birch. Yeah, so that was a really fun day, and it was really nice. It was warm out that day.
Yeah, it was.
That one hole was so hard to dig.
Yeah.
How long did it take us to dig that, do you think?
At least an hour.
Yeah, for one hole. And we had the reciprocating saw out, and I was like sawing roots out from where it was, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 8 feet away from the locust where the locust tree had been, but that tree was giant.
Well, and I don't think in the video it showed, but we tried to place it in a different location first. Yeah, closer to the locust. And basically it was like right on where the stump was. Mm-hmm. That wasn't going to work. No. So we had to move it out a little bit, but yeah, we got it.
We got it done. Kay said, mind-blowing. What is the handled cordless saw you were using to cut the roots out of the hole? I can't get a close-up to see. That's the DeWalt reciprocating saw. And it does work really well in situations like that. I mean, we'd get a little ways with the shovel and then find a root, need to cut it, get a little bit further, find another root or 3.
Reciprocating saws are amazing for destruction. Yeah. If you need to take something apart, having a reciprocating saw is awesome. You can get different size blades that are really inexpensive. You can get like real, like deep tooth ones to saw wood, and you can get smaller ones for sawing metal. But yeah, reciprocating saws are awesome.
Yes. Tyrina said, everything is turning out so beautiful, thank you. How do you know which tree roots will not grow towards the house? There's probably some kind of like, let me look. If I Google trees to plant close to a house, Google that, and you can figure out which trees are on that list. There's also like Davy Trees has the best and worst trees to plant near a house by zone. Sure. So if you ever have a question about that, just because there's so many, I would consult a list like that for sure. Latrin said, just curious, what is the story behind having all the president pictures? I've never seen anyone with a president's room. It's just one of my mom's many collections. She has different collections. And one of them, it's black and white presidents. Like it needs to be black and white or sepia toned sort of pictures. And that's it.
I don't know what the difference is between that or like roosters, and you know what I mean? Like a lot of people have random stuff in their like kitchen dining room area.
I knew somebody with a cow themed kitchen once.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or Coca-Cola.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah. People just
they get into different things.
Random things.
I think it's kind of a fun historical thing. Benjamin loves to look at those pictures.
Patriotic.
Yeah, very patriotic. Pretty said, can Japanese maples take full sun? I'm in zones 9B, San Jose, California. Want to plant in front of the house facing south. I would check with your local garden center because I am not familiar to your area. I know that we cannot plant Japanese maples in full sun. That is like a absolute no-no. Even though the plant tags say that they can take full sun, they come from the western side of our state. That's where most of them are grown. And, you know, my parents or whatever garden centers in this area, they buy them from growers over there, have them shipped here. So the tags say full sun. But Eastern Oregon full sun and Western Oregon full sun are two completely different things. So we have to put them in an area that gets just morning sun and protection in the afternoon. And we are a zone 6. So
for us, full sun means like no cloud cover, you know, like blazing sun. A lot of places I feel like have a lot more like partly cloudy days or fully cloudy days in the summer. Like we never have that.
Yeah, it's like
our summer is just, full on sun all day.
Tracy said, congrats to your mom and dad on the beautiful renovation. What is your favorite new feature? Oh boy. What's my favorite new feature of it? Space.
Vaulted ceilings, open concept.
I like open concept because it's the space thing. It makes you feel like there is much more space than there was. And we fit so much better when we're all over there. But I also liked how it was before because that's how I grew up with it.
You've got the nostalgia attached to the way it was.
That was home for me. I mean, it's pretty. I like all the cabinetry and I like all the big, tall doors and windows. I love that.
I like the lights in the kitchen.
What's that?
I think like the underlighting.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Good.
Yeah, that is nice. The whole thing is a really fun, really pretty addition. I haven't personally cooked in the kitchen, so I don't know about the feeling and the flow. I think everybody kind of has their own way of moving about. I remember moving into this house versus our smaller townhouse. In fact, okay, so moving from our apartment to our townhouse, I remember feeling that like the new kitchen was massive.
Yeah.
I thought I have to walk like 10 steps back to the pantry.
Yeah.
Instead of having everything, our apartment kitchen was like turn around.
Yeah.
You know,
There's like no walking, basically.
But it was kind of awesome because everything was at your fingertips.
There's something about tight kitchens that, I mean, I don't cook, but like I can see how when everything's within arm's reach, you can be really efficient. I feel like our kitchen is really inefficient with the layout of how like the refrigerator is kind of a long ways away and there's an island between the refrigerator and the sink.
Yeah.
And then,
it was a big jump from our townhouse to this kitchen.
Yeah.
This one felt like everything was way bigger in this house than what we were used to. But it is kind of like there's this big island in the middle. One side's the pantry, one side's the stove and fridge, one side's the oven and fridge, and then one side's the stove, one side's the sink.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to move around this big island the whole time, but I'm so used to it now.
You're kind of like running a racetrack.
I feel like I'm pretty efficient. Like I can get things done fast in there, but I feel like it's because I utilize every trip efficiently.
Yeah, I don't. I'm like more absent-minded when I'm in the kitchen, and so I find myself just kind of like
going around and around and around.
Because I'm not really thinking about like what the most efficient next step would be. I know you do.
I do.
Is that like a game that you play with yourself? Where is it subconscious? Because I know that some people kind of do that, where they have these like mental games they'll play with themselves, and like I wonder if I can do this a little faster or a little better. And do you do that?
I do that, but I also like consciously think what kind of effort, like small consistent efforts make for big changes or big, differences in how you get things done.
Yeah.
So every time I go up the stairs, I actually look around the room. I'm like, what needs to go upstairs? Because I have to go up there anyway. I may as well have full arms, going up there. So I try to make it efficient. I never carry just one load of laundry up the stairs either. I wait until 2 loads are done because I can manage 2 clean loads in a laundry basket to go up the stairs. That's why I have a piece of paper that says these clothes are clean because I always have one laundry basket waiting for the second load to be dry. So I put that piece of paper on top and then I wait till there's 2 and then it goes up the stairs. That is one of the reasons why I would love, that's one change in our house. I would love to have a washer and dryer upstairs.
Yeah.
Because we have to go down.
Doesn't make any sense that it's on the lower level.
I have to go down a set of stairs and then up the landing stairs to the laundry room.
Yeah.
Every time. And all of our laundry pretty much is created upstairs.
Don't you wish you could go back to 1982 and just like shake the people that did the
like,
remodel on our
why?
house? Like, don't do the split level.
Yeah.
It won't make any sense.
Right. I'm used to it, but that would be a nice change. Laura said, how do you keep birds from perching on the pergola and leaving their calling cards on your furniture? I can hear them in the background. There's no way to stop that other than covering your furniture, which my parents do. They've got like these little thin sheets that they throw over their furniture, and it keeps things nice. Tracy said, would Susan share where she ordered that fabulous end table with drawers that looks like a book? That's from Wayfair. I think I saw people sharing that link online after that video went up. Okay, next video was planting a random assortment of things.
so random.
Well, I had some winter sowing, sweet peas, a flat of echinacea, those columbine, the white columbine. Yeah, it was just a random gator full of stuff I just gathered, thinking I need to get this stuff done. I need to get them out of their containers. Ellen Moma said, since this is a random planting day, I have a random question. I planted flower pots with spring annuals using fresh potting soil and biotone. As I change these pots with summer annuals, should I use more biotone? I'm not changing the soil. Yeah, you could use a little more biotone in there. But usually, like, we don't mix in a lot of slow-release fertilizer in with our annual containers. We've tried it before, but we just keep ours on a very regimented schedule of fertilizing once a week with liquid fertilizer. Because we find that a lot of our annuals that we use, like the Super Bells and Super Tunias, they need a lot of chelated iron in order to stay that nice deep green. Otherwise, their leaves start to yellow a bit. So we use the Proven Winners water-soluble fertilizer because it has a chelated iron in it in the right formulation that our plants can utilize it really quickly. So we feel like it gives our plants what they need. They wouldn't get that from the slow release. I mean, it's good food, but it's not like the annual type food we need. Yeah.
I think you could probably feed, like, say it was biotone or plant tone or flower tone. I think you could feed those things fairly often for like heavy feeding annual plants that are growing really quickly. I think the problem is the distribution method, because the foliage gets too heavy and there's just no great way to distribute that. And so that's why a liquid fertilizer makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because it distributes.
Well, and you can do foliar application too. Like they're going to soak some of it in just through their leaves, and then it drips down to their soil and root system as well.
So I would say, in answering that question, it's like, yeah, put more fertilizer in there, but you can only really do it in the beginning because you have the space to do it.
Sure, that makes sense.
You just can't, a month later, odds are it's going to be full.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a good recharge of the soil. Keith said, where do you get your Persephone statue? I want to get that exact one. It's beautiful. That one was actually here when we moved into this house, but I believe it came from Henry's studio.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, Persephone.
Yeah.
I was thinking Hebe. Did they both come from Henry?
Oh, maybe.
I think
they do.
I think Persephone does. You might check them out. henrystudio.com, is that what it's called?
I don't think I've ever seen any of those statues from Unique Stone, right?
No, there's a different concrete finish look.
Get most of our stuff from one of the two.
Yeah. Everyday Fine Living said, how do you deal with the black widows? Are you not afraid, or that the kids will encounter one? The kids are highly educated on the black widow front for sure, because they're so prevalent in our area, and they're not a type of spider that's going to come after you, but the kids know not to stick their fingers in a spot they can't see that's shaded and maybe cooler. That's where those type of spiders hang out. That's why we always find them in irrigation boxes. It's almost a guarantee in the summertime we find them in there. And I just kind of like, hey, say my hellos to them as I get in there. If they don't come after me, even when I reach down, I watch them while I'm reaching my hand down in to get the hose faucet up, if I'm using one of those. But I just leave them alone, and they leave me alone. And the kids know what they look like, and where they should or shouldn't be putting their fingers.
Somebody commented about like spraying them.
Oh.
But we've got like well over 100 irrigation boxes.
Yeah.
Or electrical boxes, whatever type of boxes, across the yard. There's so many of them.
Kids aren't getting in the irrigation boxes anyway. Yeah. They might later on, like down the road, but they're not getting in there actively. I didn't really let the kids run freely out by the pumpkin and pepper area last year. Benjamin more so, because he knew what to look for, and he's very conscious of those things. Samantha, at that point, and probably at this point as well, probably wouldn't think about it, but you might have noticed when we harvested pumpkins last year, I was the one picking the pumpkins from the plant, and they stood in one spot, and I brought the pumpkin over to them, and they fawned over it. But that way I could see, because a lot of times they like to hang out under the canopy of the leaves, like right around the stem of the pumpkins. It's so weird. Like you can lift a leaf and find the pumpkin and look for the stem, and then there's a black widow sitting right there, and that's where you reach to pick the pumpkin.
Sure.
So I didn't let them pick any unless I had inspected them first. So you just have to take precautions. Carol said, I noticed the use of paper planting pots with your echinacea. What are the pros and cons of this versus ordinary pots? Also, have you ever tried making your own soil blocks? Paper pots, I've had nothing but a great experience with those. Gardener Supply was the first one who sent me the kits, and I loved them. I ordered a bunch of refills. I used my last paper refill for the echinacea. That was my last refill, and they don't carry them anymore.
Yeah, I noticed that they reviewed really poorly.
Which is so crazy to me, because I've never had a bad experience.
Yeah, people were apparently expecting something different, or you know what I mean? Like the expectations did not meet what they thought it was going to be.
The only thing I think that could be improved upon is they need to include a watertight tray, because the trays that come with those generally have a bunch of holes in the bottom for drainage and for airflow, because the whole idea behind it, I mean, the paper pots are nice because they disintegrate, they go away. It's a non-plastic thing. The only thing that's plastic is your tray, which is reusable, but so are your plastic seed starting pots once you get yourself set up with those. But I think the idea is like air pruning the roots, having a lot of oxygen flow to them. But if you're starting your seeds inside, that can be problematic because you have to provide a watertight tray so that your water doesn't leak out and damage any surface where you've got them. If you're starting seeds out in like a greenhouse situation, it won't matter quite as much because the excess water can kind of fall on the floor and won't create a big problem. I don't know.
People think that they should have bottoms on them.
Oh,
that's the
pots?
problem. Yeah, the paper pots.
Why?
They think, which wouldn't make sense with the accordion style. Like you couldn't have a bottom to it.
I don't know. I mean, maybe you could.
I don't think you could.
Why would you need a bottom though? If you've got them on a tray, I've never, like the whole bottom thing.
Yeah. Like if you look at the negative reviews, never waste your money or time on this. These are an accordion of poor quality paper that have no bottom in them. They do not look like it was advertised. I do not recommend them for anything except for maybe as toilet paper.
Well, I love them.
Yeah.
I want to carry them in our store.
Why would you need a bottom? Why would you want that?
I don't know.
Like the paper bottom?
I would think that that's just more a barrier that the root would have to grow through. And it's like once you pull them apart like we did with the echinacea, you pop them in the ground, the roots are good to go. They're not having to fight through anything.
Are people trying to use them without the tray?
They couldn't.
On their own?
They really couldn't because you have to clip them out to fill them with soil properly.
Yeah, I wonder if you can buy the paper without the tray, and so that's why people are having a bad experience.
Oh, maybe. They could be
you're missing.
You're just kind of DIYing halfway.
Yeah.
You got to have the whole kit to make it work.
Yeah, because if you didn't have a bottom, I could see how people would be upset it not having a bottom.
Right.
Because you're missing the tray,
right.
which is the bottom. I'll bet that's what it is.
Have you ever tried making your own soil blocks? I have not. I think Gardner sent me, I can see it. I've got a soil blocker. I just don't really have a lot of interest in that. One, I don't want to mix up my own soil mix. It's kind of like making my own compost.
Isn't it the same seed starting mix or no?
No, I think a lot of people do a little bit of a different blend so it holds together a little bit better. Correct me if I'm wrong there. And I know some people are way into soil blocking. I'm just not interested in it. It's kind of like you just can't make me be interested in it, like composting. If you want to do it, awesome.
Yeah.
And if it works, awesome. I might get more into it, but I kind of like need somebody to push me into it.
Sure.
And I might try it one of these days. Maybe one of these winters when we've got some extra time, we'll delve into the world of soil blocking. I know your sister does it and loves it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of people who like to do it, and I can see the benefits of it too. But I like my system as well, which is kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. I don't know. I've got different trays for different things, like my root trainers for deep-rooted things, for bascom and sweet peas, things like that. I winter sow some things, which every year I say I'm not going to do it, but every year it's a little bit nice to have those sitting there. Like all of our broccoli, our entire bed of broccoli is all from one of our winter sowing jugs, which is kind of amazing. And then I use some 72 count cell trays for some of the things I want a lot of. I use my 24 cell things for things I know I'm going to have to keep in the trays for a while, like my delphinium seedlings, things that need a little bit more root, my dahlia seedlings. And that way I don't have to up pot them. So I don't know, I've got different things in mind for different types of crops. And a lot of times I think, and I don't know, with soil blocking, do you have to like pull the seedlings out at some point and pot them up? Are you just soil blocking to start them out, or do you keep them in the soil blocks all the way to the very end? Because the roots would be like, right? I don't know.
I don't know. We should try it.
I don't know. Maybe one day. Sharon said, love your videos. Are you planting tomatoes and peppers this year? I am, but I decided not to start any of those from seed because I was not interested in that this year. I'm just going to get the ones from the garden center. I think for the last few years that I've started tomatoes from seed, it is fun that you can try out different varieties, but there's a reason why certain varieties are massively available. That's not right. Widely available. Yeah. It's because they taste the best out of most of the tomatoes. There are some really cool ones, like with a very unique look to them, but all of them that I have tried, not all of them, most of them don't taste like a super fantastic or a celebrity. There's some really good heirloom ones out there, but you can get those plants now. Like the pineapple heirloom is awesome. Yeah, I just decided to go that route. Belinda said, how do you decide when in-ground planting to use plant tone or biotone? I always use biotone at in-ground planting. Plant tone is a fertilizer for later on after they've been planted and established a bit. Melissa said, where's Bev? Bev passed away. We don't know what happened. In fact, Paul texted me and he said, was something wrong with Bev yesterday? And he said, because I didn't notice anything was wrong with her. I went in there and he cleaned out their run that day. I went in there with Samantha that night. We gathered eggs. We talked to Bev. We fed her our normal, the mealworms. I want to call them mealybugs. They're mealworms. We fed her those. She ate out of my hand. She was running around with the rest of the girls in there. And then the next day she was gone. Yeah. And there was no, Bethany is really good with farm type animals. She looked over. There's no mites. There was no issues, no injuries. So we don't know. And I know that sometimes just happens. And so it's been a good conversation to have with the kids,
Samantha calls all of them Beverly.
Well, she goes in there now and she goes, I'm sorry, Beverly died. I'm sorry Beverly died to the other three that are in there. But yeah, that was sad. That was a sad day. It's just unexplained. When Samantha she was so fine the day before.
Loves to get the eggs.
She does.
Every day. She wants to go in there and get the eggs. Mm-hmm. She gets so excited. Sometimes though, almost all the time she'll bring them in, but she really wants to crack them on the ground too. She wants to throw them.
Yeah. Who doesn't? There's some part of that. It's like hitting somebody with a snowball. Like, I really want to.
Yeah. She asked me kind of sheepishly because we went and got them and there was only one or two. And she was like, can I crack it? And I was like, well, if you really want to, because we didn't need it. Mm-hmm. And so she did. And she was just like, got a charge out of it.
Yeah. I did get the kids some water balloons. We had a big old water balloon fight the other day before it got cold. And I think maybe that satisfied some of that for her, throwing those and letting them crack on the ground. Next video was replacing berry plants, smoke bush, rejuvenation prune, and viburnum planting. So I replaced the 4 blackberry plants that we had planted in the raised bed garden area. I think they had dried out over the course of the winter and none of them had returned, but that's okay. I mean, things like that do happen and it does give you an opportunity to try some new things out. So I planted some blueberries in 3 of the pots and 1 more blackberry in 1 of the pots just to try again. We do have blackberries out in the south garden, like in a big bed, but it's fun when you run across those dwarf varieties. It's kind of like having the dwarf peach trees. We've got 2 peach trees, like semi-dwarfs out in the orchard that produce a lot of peaches, but it's fun to have them short for the kids and in a different location too. We went after a smoke bush because it was growing super weird and the top had kind of like died. It looked like it died back at one point, and then I got up close and I could see that it was starting to leaf out in some spots, but I knew I was going to have to take it down a little bit. And then we got a weird freeze and it took those leaves, and I just thought, you know what, this whole thing, it might try to push some leaves, but I don't think it's going to be very thick. And I could see a nice big tuft of thick growth toward the bottom. So we decided just to lop the whole thing off and see what happens. And I don't know that it fared very well in the 27-degree night that we just had. We'll see what happens. When you do a rejuvenation prune like that, it's kind of like a last-ditch effort to see what your plant will do. And if at least you tried. And if you need to replace it, you need to replace it. And then we planted a spice baby viburnum, which is a dwarf or a more compact version of the Korean spice viburnum, which can get like 10 to 12 feet or more tall and wide. This one gets 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. And I hit my head real hard on the bird feeder when I came up from planting that. And it was so funny because later on that day, like several hours after I was done, it was in the evening, I was sitting at the dining table and I heard like a tick, tick, tick. I looked down and there's like birdseed falling out of my hair. So I was shedding birdseed for the rest of the evening. So K-Pin said, that blue spruce in the surrounding area, it's got to be on my favorite of favorites. I do like that area as well. Your 10-year anniversary has got to be approaching. What are we planning? Our 10-year garden answer anniversary.
You and I just don't celebrate events like that.
No.
It's just not really on our minds. We just kind of keep forging ahead.
It is June 24th, though. That will be our 10-year.
I think it's 14th, isn't it? Maybe. Well, it says on the YouTube.
It's something with a 4 in it, right? Maybe I'm remembering
Hold
wrong.
on.
Our first video probably...
24th, you were right.
Am I? Okay, I was going to say our first video, is it even still public? Probably not.
Oh, it might not be. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was, I probably deleted it. It's probably not even.
June 24th, though, seems to be the date that sticks out in my mind.
Yeah. You know what we did is that, that was the first one we posted actually. But I think that we filmed a video called Succulent Planters Part 1, Containers with Drainage. I think that we filmed that one first. Because you and I were like, we got to get some videos in the can and we got to be prepared and have like 3 or 4 videos so we're ready to launch our YouTube channel. Couple idiots.
Hey, you know what? It panned out pretty.
Yeah, it
pretty
did.
Great,
it did.
You
But
know,
I don't really know what was going on inside.
You know what,
like,
though?
The decisions we were making.
I do. We were very concerned about being consistent.
Yeah, I think so.
And so that was like our number one priority. If we're going to do this, we're going to be consistent and we're going to just work hard at it for a while, knowing that it's not going to do anything for a while, which it didn't. And we both worked full-time jobs. So you kind of like, we wanted to have some videos ready because it took us a lot longer to film stuff back then and we didn't have near the amount of time.
Yeah. What I don't remember is having any aspirations of it going anywhere. Like there wasn't as much of a track to run on for people. There weren't that many full-time people doing like YouTube or content creation at the time. So, I don't know what our aspirations were. It's like we wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I don't remember why. Do you?
No.
It's like we just did it, but I don't know why we did it.
I did
Other
it for you.
than it was just fun. I guess like I wanted to edit. I wanted to film and edit.
Yeah, and I did it for you.
Fun,
I told you I'd give you
I
give you a year.
guess that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Is just.
It seems like a long time ago.
You know, honestly, it's probably the best reason to start a YouTube channel is because you just want to film and edit and like produce something, whatever it. Because I remember it not really mattering what it was. Like garden was just something that you like to do. So that kind of made sense. It's like, well, look, gardening is your hobby, and I want to film and edit something. So let's just make it happen.
On our 10-year anniversary, I will probably be outside filming a video, most likely. Old Fashioned on Purpose said, thanks for the great videos, Laura and Aaron. I love your show and watch you every day. Thank you. Question, I remember you planting honeyberries once. How did that ever turn out? Well, pretty good. They're looking awesome and they're full of blooms right now. I've got 4. I've got 2 in those terracotta pots, kind of in front of the flower shed, and then I planted 2 underneath a birch tree that has died. And we have no idea why that birch tree died. We just planted it last year. It's right by the grape structure, and it's a royal frost birch, and that's exactly what I want there again, because I want that purple color, and it's got a little bit more of that architectural wispiness to it instead of a big chunk of a tree.
Does Proven Winter still sell that honeyberry?
I thought they were eliminating that one from their line, but I don't know. Too.
Also, on the tree dying thing, the tree guy came out to come look at the locusts because we're going to have to take that out. I think the plan is to take it out in November. Yeah. So it'll stay there just dead for the summer. At least it won't cause damage as they take it down.
Right.
But anyway, I was like, do you know why do you think it died? And he said, trees are kind of like people, and more often than not, they live a nice long life, but sometimes they just die, and it's hard to diagnose exactly what it is. Right. Well, it's a lot of trees, all trees have a lifespan too. Some have a lot less of a lifespan, and we don't know the history of a lot of the trees that we have, bought with the property. Choked on the Baldwin burlap. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The cage at the bottom. The honey locust up by our fountain in the front, you can see baling twine coming out of the ground from around where the roots are. You know what? The trunk is. Yeah, maybe the twine is still down there. Because whoever planted all the trees on our property, they left everything. They left all the twine, everything. The cage. We know who it was, too. We do. Haskcaps or honeyberries are no longer available from Proven Winners. They still have them on their website. Because I think I have the sugar pie, and it just said this information is for reference only. The variety is no longer available from Proven Winners. So, there you go. But mine are doing really well, and the kids love looking for berries. I think I need to net mine, though. I need to net them this year, so the birds don't get after them. No. Birds love them, and the blueberries. The last sentence on that comment said, we planted a few 2 years ago, and they're finally producing, kind of sour though. If you wait until they're just about ready to fall off the plant, they're pretty sweet at that point. Otherwise, they are kind of tart. Bonnie McDougall said, McDougall? Are your blackberries a different kind than the rest of us Oregonians consider a really invasive weed? I love my blackberries, but I find them so hard to control in my yard. Your home and garden are such an oasis.
Beautiful in all seasons. Thank you. The ones I have out in the South Garden are more like the traditional blackberry varieties. There are trailing type and semi-trailing type. And the ones I have out there are semi-trailing because I didn't want them to just like go everywhere. So there might be a little difference in what you have versus what we have out there. And then the baby cakes are meant to be a lot smaller, and they're meant to stay a lot smaller, which is so nice, so that people that don't have an enormous space to plant them or let them kind of ramble around, they have the option of growing the blackberries as well. Rebecca said, does giving the thumbs up on a video help, and what exactly does it help? Ratings, payments, sponsors. Do thumbs up help?
Yeah, it helps the algorithm. To what extent, I do not know. I know everything helps, like watching videos for a long amount of time, like watch time, that helps. Watching the ads helps. Liking, leaving like good comments, like substantive comments is good. But yeah, like what percentage and exactly how that helps, I don't think anyone knows. I'm not even sure if the people that work at YouTube really know. There's probably like a small subset of engineers that work on that, and they're like tweaking things and but yeah.
I do notice creators asking, please subscribe, give a thumbs up on this video, and comment down below.
Comment, subscribe.
Yeah, that's a common thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, at that point, it's kind of, you're just like asking for people to engage. Like engagement is good. So I think any engagement is positive.
Jenny said, when will we see the play area? I think that we're going to talk about that next video. So that one has gone out. Lorraine said, have you ever considered making blooper reels, outtakes and such, like you don't have enough to do? We occasionally leave stuff in.
Yeah, there's not that much.
No, I'm just like cruising through projects.
Yeah.
If I hit my head, we'll keep it in the video.
Yeah, if there's something interesting. But like our videos aren't that like structured. It's not like we're reading a script to where if you say something funny off script, it's like, oh, that was so funny.
Yeah.
It's like, you're kind of getting what happened for the most part.
Yeah. Anna said, would you ever consider creating your own line of terracotta for retail? Oh, good pots are hard to come by yet. Yes, they are. And no, I don't know about creating my own line of terracotta. Can you imagine?
Oh, they would all break in shipping. That's the problem.
Yeah, that would be a tough one, the shipping part.
They would be 1 out of 5 stars. Everybody would be like, well, they came broken.
Just like our future paper pot listing.
Yeah.
1 out of 5 stars, except for mine. I'll put a review on there. These are the best.
I suppose knowing that people expect them to have bottoms, it's like,
these don't have bottoms. Don't buy them if you want bottoms. I suppose
if you just make the photos to where it's like, put your hand behind the accordion.
Face. Yeah.
Yeah.
SJ said, I have a lilac standard that I've allowed the ball to get away too big for the trunk. I need to take it back about a foot all the way around to get it down to a reasonable size. Can I safely use the electric hedge trimmers on it to reduce the size, or should I just do a hard prune to decrease the size and shape it up? It just finished blooming, so now is the time, but I'm nervous. Don't be nervous about it. It's a great time to do it. I probably, like myself, wouldn't use an electric shear. You could, but I would probably take after it with pruners. I don't know how big yours is, and maybe it's too big and you just want to get the job done, in which case I don't think your lilac's going to hurt using an electric shear. But if you use your pruners, you can selectively prune and you get a really nice finished look in the end without a bunch of like weird sticks, because usually I'll take every branch down right above a node so there's nice leaves that kind of hide your cut. So it kind of just depends on how you want to do that. But yeah, great time to do it. Angela said, loved this one. Do you talk in a video about how you overwinter the maple in a pot? I've talked about overwintering perennials in pots before in like a specific video.
Talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
If you Google that, if you type garden answer overwintering maple,
there you go.
You'll find it.
Am has said, I had a quart-sized rose of Sharon get eaten to the ground this winter. I protected it this spring to see if it comes back, and it has all fresh growth now. What can I expect from such an unestablished plant getting a forced rejuvenation cut? I think it won't skip a beat. If you're seeing foliar growth right now, let it do its thing. Maybe give it a little bit of plant tone or flower tone, rose tone, anything like that. Just give it a little extra boost, but you should be good. Those bloom on new wood, so you should even see blooms. Right? They bloom on new wood. Double check. Rose of Sharon. I say things sometimes with so much authority, and then I'm like, blooms on new wood. Ha. Last video, play set reveal. Basketball hoops are down and planting 4 big trees. I was so excited to get to this point to where we could actually share the play set with you, because earlier on I shared a little snippet, like when they very first started digging out the area, And I said that we would just go back there every day at the end of my project and show you the progress, but just didn't work out that way because some days they would do little fiddly things and I could barely tell what was done, but they were out there working all day. And some days it was like big changes, the slide would go up or, one of the big things would be visible. So we just decided to wait till the very end. And that was kind of we went back and forth on the whole play set. And I know you guys have been a part of that conversation for a few years now. Like, why don't you get a play set for the kids? Well, part of me said, well, we really don't need one. They've got so much room to play. And...
It was just the space. I think having an open space, like, oh, okay, well, we got space. Let's do it.
I did see a comment with a roll of eyes, like, oh, so now you have the space. Like,
well, yeah, we got 4 more acres.
Well, I know, but we did have the space before, but not to allocate to a big play set. Like, we didn't have a space that we wanted to, like, everything was kind of spoken for in a way. Like, we had plans for every space before.
I wouldn't like having a play set super close to the house.
Sure.
Like seeing it.
Yeah.
I like having the Hartley close to the house.
Yeah.
But like the play set will, I still want to shroud it. I still want to put like evergreens and trees to where you can't really see it from.
We've got trees coming in June.
Oh yeah.
That's going to change a lot back there. Not big malad trees. No. But trees that will make a big impact back there.
In 3 years, 4 years.
I think they'll make a big impact right away.
They will.
Yeah. So it was the perfect area because with the basketball hoop being back there or the court, we knew we wanted to keep that. And I know a lot of people were like, why would you even keep it? Don't keep it right there. Put it somewhere else. It's awesome. Why would we get rid of that, you know, when the kids are just at the perfect age? And so we just thought this is going to be kid central. We're just going to we're going to bury a trampoline out there and have a seating area, maybe with a fire pit, so we can entertain, have families over and everybody's, having fun. So it's just going to be like entertainment kid central. And it just worked out perfectly that way. Mm-hmm. Meredith said, what's the growth rate on the linden tree? How quickly do they fill in? Well, if you're living at my parents' house, they fill in super fast. If you live here at our house, they don't hardly do anything.
For 3 years.
Yeah. We planted some Corinthian lindens, 3 of them out in the 3, right? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Was it 2020 that we did that or 2021?
It was the first year, right? The first year it was the second year because the first year I did the cut flower garden and we had them tied to the high tunnel out there. And then we wintered them over and then it was the next year that we planted them. And they've done hardly anything except shoot out, like there's one tree that shot out 4 really long branches above the rest of the canopy. One that has shot a leader up like 4 or 5 feet up above the rest of the canopy. And one that's just sitting there looking nice. And their trunks have gotten really big, but the canopies are doing nothing. It's weird.
It was May 2021.
2021.
So it wasn't, this is their third.
Yeah. They're definitely, it looks like they're sitting there like getting their trunks really big and maybe they'll just
they need to explode this year. I suppose if it's like the first year they sleep, the second year they creep, the third year they creep,
well,
and then
except
the
for
fourth
their
year.
weird branches.
Yeah.
So weird.
Like a water sprout.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the greenspire does out in the new area.
Well, other people have good luck with lindens.
Yeah.
Our neighbor does.
Yes,
so
like right there. So
it's the same type of soil, same everything.
I love linden trees. I think they're just absolutely beautiful, and they smell so good when they're in bloom.
Is that one of your favorite trees?
Oh, I don't know. I have a lot of favorite trees, but I do love that tree.
I don't like the little yellow blooms.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, because it makes them look a little dry to me. But
really?
they smell nice, and I do like them. But maybe
there's
just
like
not as much
period.
as other trees.
That makes sense. Zalea's Crap said, did you research about the carcinogens in rubber mulch? I know some can be non-toxic, but there's a lot of bills in play in Florida about the ban of it. I've done quite a lot of reading on it, and I don't think there's any conclusive evidence that I can find, any research that conclusively shows that there's anything to worry about.
Kids are eating it. Like how would you get it?
Maybe the fumes that come off of it. I don't know.
Huh.
Right?
Maybe.
I know that a lot of the recycled rubber gets used like in hospital floors, and they get used in like sports areas and like the foam, or not the foam, the rubber mats and stuff.
Are we concerned about the people working in tire shops all day, every day? Like,
I don't know.
It doesn't.
Maybe I need somebody to share some links with me on that. But I have Googled around because I wondered too a little bit because it's some realm I've never experienced or thought about before. But when we were thinking about different things to put down, it made the absolute most amount of sense, other than just setting the whole thing straight on grass.
Yeah.
Which would have been a pain to mow around and all that. So our options were AstroTurf, or artificial turf, which was $27,000. That's the bid. Regular mulch, which is Sliver Haven, and it's messy and dirty.
And eventually it composts and weeds will grow in it.
Yeah, weeds. Gravel would be another option, but who wants to play on gravel? Any other options other than that? Yeah, it's soft. It creates a soft landing for the kids. They don't get the slivers in their feet. And it doesn't, I read one comment about it dying like the kids' hands. No, there's none of that.
I mean, it is dyed.
But there's nothing
but it
transferring.
Doesn't come off. Yeah. No.
So I don't know. It's not something that I'm stressed about. And it's not like the kids are living on it and sleeping in it, or eating it. I mean, I'm open to learning about it for sure. Bliss Botanical Garden said, does Bethany have a YouTube channel? She does not. She's a busy lady. But with all the free plants from you all, I'm sure her space looks amazing. I would love to see it. She is really good with those plants. She has a lot of patience. And she also tells me like, hey, it's a free plant. If it doesn't survive, who cares? But if it does, awesome. I just got myself a free plant. And she's willing to put in the work. But the plants that she doesn't want from here, she finds homes for them. Yeah, she relocates everything. She
was saying yesterday that what she loves to do is just find a need and fill it. So if we have a plant or whatever it is, because we have a lot of
baby items, like kid items.
Yeah, there's a lot of cast-offs, and neither of us like to do like garage sales and things like that. So it's just easier for us to give it to someone. And Bethany loves to find the person that needs it, and then she facilitates that transaction and.
Yeah, it really is. It works out wonderfully well. One Bright Light said, wait, you leave the burlap on the trees? I planted 5 trees a few months ago and I removed the cage and the burlap. Is it better for the burlap to stay on? No. We just leave the burlap at ease. It's going to fall apart and go away, disintegrate, compost into the soil. While the cage for us, we haven't experienced that they do that for us here. Taking it off is absolutely fine.
Sometimes you can't. Some of the balled and burlap things that we've had, the roots are already growing through the burlap, and I think you would do more damage trying to take it off.
Sure.
And also it's like if the roots are already growing through it, like they can grow through the burlap.
Right.
They can heave concrete.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like...
But not wire cages. Metal cages.
Yeah.
Edith said, love your videos. Thank you. Question, do you deep water your trees? They make special tools for that. We've just been, somebody sent out one of those deep water things, and they don't work for us. Our soil is not ready to accept a ton of water quickly unless you do it super slow.
We use a drip system. Yeah. I think all that stuff is unnecessary if you're watering like with a sprinkler or something. I mean, you can water with a sprinkler, you just have to water a lot. But I don't think people like really understand how efficient we are at watering and how little water it takes to get, growing what we grow. Like when you put that drip tubing around the root ball, like it's slow, you can let it go for like 2-3 hours or whatever. And it just drips down and it does deep water root
and you're
just
wasting
the tree.
None.
Yeah. And you're not watering the ground around it. So yeah, get a drip system.
You're also not losing any to evaporation.
Right.
It's all just so efficient. And we've got pretty close to dialing in how many drip emitters each tree needs and based off what kind of tree it is. And so we've learned over the years not to put a ton of rings of drip around. We maybe for an evergreen just need 1 ring, and then eventually it becomes less and less of a ring through the years. So it's a very efficient way of watering. Brandon said at 2408, there's a stunning red tree in the background. What is it? That is a prairie fire crabapple. That is a gorgeous tree. Oh, I was just showing that to you when we were driving around. Remember the other night, and I told you I need more of those out here. And they're a little bit of a smaller scale tree versus what the ones we're putting toward the back of the borders. So it'll be perfect to tuck some of those in.
It's we have to do a lot of like the not as fun stuff planting first because we've got to get the evergreen.
Oh, evergreens are fun.
Well, they're not as flashy to me as like the red buds and crab apples.
They're so much more important though.
And we've got to get that in place to get our kind of hedge in. And then I think you put the other stuff, 1, because they stay smaller, but 2, they can contrast. If you've got an evergreen in the back and a crab apple in front,
it's like,
you can see,
frames it.
Yeah, you can see the blooms even even more.
Even more. Yep. Kimberly said, have to ask, your property has grown quite a bit. Where the children's area is, what about a bathroom? Or are they not far from the house to run over to go to? I'm in love with all the changes. They just run to the house. And in fact, it's kind of common practice for us when we get ready to go out anywhere or go on a drive or we make the kids go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Try to go potty. And it eliminates a lot of that.
For me and Benjamin, we've got little pea bushes around the property.
Here's one bush in particular I will not trim on one side. It's so gross. I can't believe you guys do that. Samantha and I, it's a little bit more tricky. So anyway, we have to make sure to go inside before we head out. Katie said, how are the bricks secured in place? From the video, it looks like they are just set on compacted road mix. They mix up concrete and they pour concrete along both sides of the brick. So it's all held in by a little wedge of concrete. And that's what they've done along our driveway. And as they continue the brick border, because that is the plan, to continue the brick border around the big lawn and around some of our other areas, they do it that way and it works really well. And I think what?
Maybe I just didn't get footage of that.
I don't know. Montages are hard because
it's not like a how-to.
Yeah, it's not a how-to. And some of the steps look very tedious. It takes a long time for it to be a satisfying thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not even a satisfying thing to watch. And so it gets eliminated. You know, sometimes that happens in container planting. People ask, like, are you packing in the root balls? Are you, are you adding in extra soil? Well, you can't really see it because it's around the plant. And if we're speeding up the footage, then it probably looks like I'm not packing in my plants very well. I remember that comment a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like over the years, I've been able to kind of gather up what seem to be the most common questions, and I try to address those in the video. Like, I know it doesn't look like, but I'm making sure I'm packing in all the root balls so that I can eliminate those questions. Not that they are a burden to answer or anything, but it's nice just to clear those up right away so that nobody's confused as to how I'm doing it. And that is it for today's recap video. It looks like the wind has died down. Weather report 1 hour later. The sun is out and it does not look breezy, so we may be able to get out and place some trees, possibly. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Really appreciate you watching all of our videos and commenting and all the questions. It's wonderful. I hope you're having a great start to your week, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.